So when you're seeing coloured mucus from your nose or coughing up lumps of coloured stuff from your chest, it actually means that you're effectively fighting that infection. You don't necessarily need to run off and go and get antibiotics, because coloured mucus means you are actually getting on top of it.
Oh, look, we are doing Peter Mullen once again. Peter, is this part 2 of your fishing trip?
Yes, this is part, but I didn't bring the photos again.
No, he promised.
It's a shame you can't show photos on air.
Well, we've got a couple of fishing magazines in the waiting room. We'll cut out the one with a massive giant fish, and you can,
Riley can Photoshop me, and
the boys in production will Photoshop you, and you look fabulous.
Right, well, I'm going to bring some photos on, and I'll definitely make sure they go on our website.
In the meanwhile, this week it's all about the sniffles. What have you got for us, Peter?
Well, the cold I thought was developing last week, fortunately disappeared. So I think it was just a bit of hay fever, just to point that out.
Oh, that's what I say year in, year out.
last week, we were talking about preventing colds and flu. I thought today we'd go over some awesome tips if you've got the cold or flu, or the start of the cold or flu, what you can actually do to hopefully nip it in the bud, or at least shorten the duration.
Peter, well, what are some of the simple tips out there we need to be aware of when it comes to the sniffles?
Well, look, as we were talking about last week, excuse me, now that's still not a cold.
Okay.
Actually,
you better get that checked out, Peter.
As we were saying last time, our immune system, our bodies, our health has changed a lot. Like, Australian statistics suggest that, it's normal for a child to get 5 to 10 colds a year. And for an adult to get 2 to 4. So to my mind, that's way too many for starters. And we talked about, some of the preventative aspects last time. So today I thought we'd talk a bit more about, colds are a leading cause of visits to the doctor or to your naturopath, missed days from work and school. Americans suffer from approximately 1 billion colds per year. So, it's a lot of time taken off for something. And interestingly, as I was saying last time, probably about 20% of what people get, or 10%, is actually the full-on flu.
Mm. Most of it's just a cold.
Most of it's a cold, or a variation of a cold, or an upper respiratory tract infection. So, flus are less likely. And usually, if you get the flu, you really know you've got the flu. As I was saying last time, I don't mind people getting a good dose of a cold. Hopefully not the flu, but a good dose of a cold every 1 to 2 years, because I think it does pull the rug out from under your feet, makes you realise the world can get on just by without you for a couple of days. Probably not you and I, because we're so busy and so important.
We're fairly important chaps, Peter.
And it does, give your immune system a good shake-up as well. So if you get the cold and flu, the first tip is simple tips for recovery. First tip is listen to your body. So many times, you see those ads on TV. If you've got a cold, what are you supposed to do?
Soldier on.
Soldier on with something or other.
It's 1 point for me.
So the reality is, if you've got a cold, your body's working hard. You need to go to bed, stop, rest, and let your immune system deal with it. Now, interesting fact about viruses. I watched this video this morning, actually. When someone sneezes, so how you pick up viruses, colds, flus, someone sneezes.
I know where this is going.
And I know you're a little bit sensitive to germs, so just talking about them will be fine. I'm sure you won't catch anything if we talk about it, maybe. So someone sneezes, so those sneeze particles can come out of your mouth at 200 miles an hour. So if you're in the shopping centre and you happen to turn your head and look down the fruit and veg aisle, and someone 20 feet away sneezed in your direction, you better shut your mouth and run, because you're going to come in contact with those mucus particles, which contain hundreds of little virus particles. Once that mucus gets into once that phlegm gets into your system,
I've picked a really good week to turn up, haven't I?
It only takes. You may well have nightmares about this. It only takes one little virus and what the viruses have, like a little key on their outside, and they go along to the cells on your mucous membranes, like on your throat or your sinuses, and the key fits into a lock on the cell, so the viruses trick the cell into thinking that they're part of the normal biology. The cell then opens up and welcomes the viral particle into itself, and the virus is welcomed into the cell. The virus gets into our DNA replication, into our cell nucleus, where then the cell nucleus massively produces 1 million of those virus particles that then get released back out, and then they come back out of the cell. So that's the challenge with viruses, is that they don't reproduce by themselves. They actually trick our cells into being allowed into the cell, and then the cell, unfortunately, produces 1 million virus particles.
So we're our own worst enemy, and the viruses are kind of acting like door-to-door salesmen, aren't they?
They are, and we shouldn't let them in. So, but the good news is, if you've got a healthy immune system, a healthy functioning immune system, we've got 1 million viral particles, we've got 1 trillion cells involved with our immune system. So viruses, and that's why someone in a family can have a virus they've come in contact with, but if their immune system's working well, they won't even know they've come in contact with that virus, because we're coming in contact with these viruses all the time. Someone else in the family, say,
someone whose immune system isn't as in good a shape,
or a teenager, staying up like Riley, teenager staying up too late, playing on the Xbox, all those sorts of things, not eating properly. I'm sure Riley does eat properly, eating junk food. Their immune system's a bit more compromised, so by the time their immune system recognises there's a virus present, they've got 20 gazillion virus particles.
And we should always be keeping our fluid intake up as well?
Absolutely. So does that make sense? So that's where in a family, some families, everyone gets sick, but some families only one person, so it depends on your immune system.
So you can actually, in theory, you can be the person that hosts the virus, pass it on to someone else. You can just have nothing happen and everyone else gets sick.
Yes.
Oh, that's very mean, isn't it?
So listen to your body. Stay at home, because it's common sense. With viruses, they spread by contact. So don't cough and sneeze on people. And, when you're, walking at the shopping centres, be careful not to touch stuff that other people have touched. Keep your fluid intake up. And again, the reason you need to keep plenty of water is that one of our body's defence mechanisms, if you have a virus or bacteria, is our body produces mucus. And mucus really is our friend, because mucus carries our white blood cells out to... You're going green. You don't like talking about mucus and viruses.
No, I'm just listening, Peter. I'm just listening.
So the mucus carries the white blood cells out to where these viruses and bacteria are. Mm-hmm. They fight and die, and that's how our immune system... So we need to drink water to produce plenty of mucus. The worst thing you can do if you've got a cold or a virus is take antihistamines or something to dry up that mucus, because you're knocking the legs out from under your immune system.
So a lot of us are doing the wrong thing there. Well, I'm usually good for about 1.5 litres before midday in here, so I think I'm okay.
Till lunchtime, but then you need to have another 1.5 litres after, mate.
There's always something. Now, also eating lots of healthy fruits and veggies. You've got on the list green smoothies as a good way to get the good stuff in.
So when you're sick, the reason you don't feel hungry is because you don't really need to eat. You just need to rest. So if you do feel like having something, have some nice chicken soup is awesome. There's a lot of benefit to having chicken soup. It actually contains, in the bone broth associated, it contains a lot of immune complexes to actually boost your immune system. Because remember, the virus is already in your system. It's tricked your cells into replicating itself. We really need to ramp up your immune system to get on top of it. So green smoothies are great way of getting quick, easy to digest nutrition in. Veggie soups, chicken soup, as I said.
And just very quickly, taking some natural medicines to support your immune as well. Immune system.
Absolutely,
also.
and I'm going to talk about my secret weapons if you have a cold or flu. My weapons of mass destruction when it comes to viruses.
Yeah. Peter, I do that every time I do one of these lifestyle programs. I say morning. We are well into the afternoon, unless of course we're on like South Australian time or something.
Maybe that's it. Maybe you're just getting you. Maybe we'll do a section on
Don't say
and
it.
brain and stuff
don't
like
you
that.
dare say that. Look, you've got some secret weapons when it comes to the sniffles. Let's get straight. What are your secret weapons?
Well, one of the best things that you can do at the first sign of a cold or flu is take vitamin C. Sounds really simple. If I had nothing else to practice with but vitamin C, I'd be happy.
Okay.
And it's so important for so many things, not just helping. Like vitamin C will actually increase the effectiveness or the activity of your white blood cells. So quite literally, you take vitamin C, your immune system will boost itself or ramp up. So what I do, and at the first sign of cold or flu, I do what I call high doses of vitamin C. I take vitamin C to what I call bowel tolerance. Mm-hmm. So I take a teaspoon of vitamin C powder every 1 to 2 hours until I start to get a bit grumbly in the tummy or a little bit loose even in the bowel. Everyone wanted to know about that. But what that means is you've taken enough vitamin C that your body can cope with. And I've had a day or 2 days where I felt like I was getting something really bad, done that, and day 3 I felt fine.
Wow.
So
well, the proof is in the pudding.
if you don't feel confident taking that much vitamin C, just increasing your vitamin C at the first sign of cold or flu is really beneficial. And I always, from a preventative point of view, I always recommend people take extra vitamin C through winter. We're one of the only animals, I think, us and guinea pigs and I think salmon, we're among the only animals that can't produce vitamin C. We have to get it from our diet. So dogs can actually produce their own vitamin C.
Oh, they've learned something today.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So we have to get vitamin C, and we have to get it daily. And it's highest in our fruit and veg. And, unfortunately, fruit-wise, what's one of the things that drops off through the winter period?
Oh, of course, all the vitamin C.
Yeah. So, we won't get scurvy. Or there was one case of scurvy reported last year, which is due to vitamin C deficiency. But yeah, we won't get scurvy, but I think we do need to supplement. And vitamin C is involved in our energy production. It's involved in collagen, so it's important for knees and joints, connective tissue. So it's not adrenals. It's one of the adrenal gland's most important nutrients. If someone's under high doses of stress, vitamin C is needed. So yeah, really important. Number 2, echinacea. I love echinacea. I take it all year round, but I particularly recommend for people through winter to take vitamin C and echinacea as a preventative. And you can use it in the acute situation as well. So if you've just got a cold, just doing your vitamin C and echinacea 4 times a day for say 3 or 4 days, and then cutting it back to twice a day, and then back to once a day. And it, often again, if you get it early, you can nip it in the bud, or at least reduce the severity and the length of time. We have a herbal tablet at work called Andrographis complex, and what it is, Andrographis is one of my favourite herbs. It's my version of an antibiotic from a natural medicine point of view. So if someone's got a really bad, oftentimes people can get a viral infection, Andrographis is great, also has some echinacea in it. But particularly this is where if someone's starting to see coloured mucus. So if you're starting to see coloured mucus, you're going green again.
No, I was just about to ask
very similar
you,
to the colour of the mucus.
So the greener it is, now we're talking here.
Yeah, so when you've got a virus, the white blood cells in the mucus fight the virus, but you don't get any coloured mucus. When you've got bacteria involved or a secondary bacterial infection, white blood cells fight the bacteria, they both die, that creates the pus or the colour. So when you're seeing coloured mucus from your nose or coughing up lumps of coloured stuff from your chest, it actually means that you're effectively fighting that infection. You don't necessarily need to run off and go and get antibiotics, because coloured mucus means you are actually getting on top of it.
So when you see those camouflage greens,
yes,
that's actually a good thing, that you're winning the war.
It's a sign that you're winning the war.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is take things to boost your immune system to make sure you do get on top of that war effectively, and that's your Andrographis complex, vitamin C, other great herbs we use, pelargonium if there's a chest infection. Interesting, pelargonium's a herb I use in a lot of chest mixes, and it was originally used in Africa to treat TB.
Wow.
When they didn't have TB medication, antibiotics available. So, yeah, some of these herbs are great. So if you've got a secondary infection, so the worst thing you can do if you've got a cold or flu, number 1, never take an antibiotic, because antibiotics only work on bacteria. So if you've got a cold virus or a flu virus, you're just going to knock your good bacteria around. Number 2, try not to take things to dry all the mucus up, because you want to promote that mucus flow and get it all coming away.
Which obviously makes sense now that we've talked about it, but to our minds, that's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? Because you're thinking, well, my nose is running, all this mucus is happening, I just want to dry it up and be done with it.
Yeah.
But that's actually the wrong thing.
Yeah, the problem is if you dry it all up, 3 weeks later, what's going to happen again is the body has to get rid of all that gunk again, so it's going to come back
You'll be back
again.
where you started.
We've got a really great herbal mix that we make up. We do a lot of mixes for people that come in off the street, patients, but, friends of patients as well. So we make up specific mixes where we might include herbs like echinacea, Andrographis. Andrographis tastes really disgusting. That's why I like it in the tablet form.
A man after my own heart, for sure.
Pelargonium. Garlic is awesome. Garlic's always been recommended, so we'll often put that in the mix as well. So we often do specific herb mixes. We do up mixes for sinus and throat as well, but for anyone initially, you know, the echinacea, the vitamin C, and andrographis as a backup if things do get away on you. But you want to promote your body to fight the infection, and the best thing you can do when you've got a cold or flu, go to bed.
Couldn't have said that any better myself. No, that's all. He's putting a full stop on that. Right? Thank you for your input today, Peter. You got me freaked out with your germs again. And he also shook my hand when he came in.
I did. You just wash your hands after we finish up.
Yes, he had just got a fresh set of washed hands. Then he walked in and put your hand out for a handshake. And as you know, I'm not a fan of that to begin with. Hey, thanks for your time, Peter. We'll be back next week.